We're working on the old 25 coupe, and I pulled the exhaust and intake manifold off of this engine, and I'll put it on the old 24. So now I don't have to figure out that vaporizer carburetor. It's very interesting, but I'm more familiar with the old carburetors like this in here. Old Kingston. But been doing some digging around and pulling things apart, and this here is actually the upper structure for the trunk, and this piece of wood ended up being the piece of wood that's missing in this corner here. It goes on there, and like that one, you can see it's all kinds of rotted and just generally terrible. And there's the little sheet of plywood somebody just tucked up there. It's not tacked to the metal or anything. Just kind of made a seat back. That wood pillar over there is pretty rough, and this one here stops right there at the shelf. So it's got some rust and such in the back there, and put a strip of wood here to lift it up so that the seat would sit over the tank. And this pillar here is all original till right there, and then they pieced in the rest. And so I don't know how original that is. But this here is the seat pan out of the other car, and you'll note that it's a little bit less rusty, and it's got some wood structure here between. And it's got little knobs for the two different seat cushions to sit down over the tank. It's got the remainder of a little bit of a block there, and a block that I could probably use for a pattern there. I'm pretty certain that that's not a cross member for this car, but it came with that car. And I went out and grabbed another one of my coil boxes. I have a better one yet at the house. And I put this window regulator, for lack of a better word, into this frame. And this one here is too long. Another window regulator. That's the oil pan off the 25. If you wanted to see what I'm talking about when I say that, for some reason the rods are all just disconnected. They're all there, they just didn't hook them up. But that's my old 6-volt klaxon. I'm probably going to end up putting on this car eventually. But we compare that woodwork to what's in the 24. And you can see, here's that's where that pillar ends in the other car. And it doesn't have any of that woodwork there. That's probably still original stuff. It's got a little notch in it, probably for the back seat to clip into. And then that side, it's the same way. Only in this car, you can see that there's a lot more understructure in this one. There again, I'm pretty certain that that's something like what's in my 27 crossmember wise. But like I said, you know, this body's not bolted down. Just sitting on this 27 frame that'll eventually become a polo car. But yeah, that's where I'm at so far. Bear, hey, what are you doing? Just staring off into the distance. But yep. We'll eventually have her going. We're getting closer to try to see if we can get that old engine there to fire up. And if she fires, well, we'll just go ahead and pull that one off and put it over here. And probably see what that radiator does. Get rid of a lot of the makeshiftness going on there. Still gotta figure out exactly what to do along the top. I'm sure there was structure that ran the whole way. And I know one thing for sure. You don't want to open both front doors in this car at the same time, because it'll lean. The cowl will lean back on it, and then you can't get the door shut. But yeah, because of the lack of wood structure, that corner there is just pushed in. It's got kind of a crease going in it. And it's this corner, like this quarter and this rear pan, that have all the rust in it. This one here is actually pretty solid. Doesn't even have the little, it's like a little tax welds where they welded that bit to this bit. Trying to see what all gotta do to make it happen. there's a part of me that's like, well, I'll just use the other body and steal the B-pillars out of this one. And then use all the rest of the woodwork and the sheet metal from the other car, but utilize these metal doors instead of the wooden doors. But that's the plan at the moment. Just trying to figure out exactly what all we're lacking and how much we need to fabricate and what makes more sense to go out and buy. But honestly, a lot of this stuff will probably just be pattern material, because that, if I push too hard on that, that thing's going to explode. And pretty much this whole wood beam all the way across here, I need to replicate for the other car. And need to figure out exactly what the heck is going on here. Looks like a whole fuel gauge tape thing they tacked up there to hold it together. But yeah, this piece here would go on there, make the shelf for the back window. I'm sure a lot of this is somebody's invention. But hopefully, between the inventions in this and the inventions in the other body, we can make one solid body that doesn't squeak, bang, or pop. Maybe. But there you go, that's the progress thus far on the old 25. I still gotta get, when it all said and done, I'll get a proper wiring harness and I'll take and do the right thing for it. I guess there is a little bit of rust down in there, but that should be easily fixable. And then you can see there should be a strip there like on the other car, but there's not. And then still got the trunk on this. Those are the only pieces there. It's got two of those screwed in, and they're aluminum. But like I was saying, don't have that, but because of those boards back in there, that's nice and solid yet. But there again, there's no upper structure, and I'm sure the back window frame was tied into the lower and upper structure somehow as well. And the whole body is forward on this frame. That large hole there on the other car is back in here. And this piece here, I'll move that door hinge. There was one door hinge missing when I bought this car, and when I pulled that seat frame out, I found the missing door hinge, which is cool enough. But yeah, this here piece would be right in there. So that leads me to think, the way that's all put together, you can see it's got tack holes here and tack holes there. So there's got to be a wood structure that sits atop that lower structure. But we'll figure it out. See, that's good and solid yet. Alrighty, well, catch you on the next one.